our Swiss, I don't know, they came to to controller, wie sagt man controller?
To observe?
To see how the people are treated. How you say it?
You said it very well.
So
It was a commission from Switzerland.
From Switzerland to see how the people are treated. So they in 1 yard they made like a field hospital. Beds with not mattresses but straw sacks, you know. And before I was sleeping on the boards, dirty boards, in newspaper underneath, and with somebody gave me a cow to cover myself, and a black cow, but it was white with lights, covered with lights, because the people over there, nobody could clean himself. But anyway, I accepted it because I didn't have any better. And they said all very sick people should go to that hospital, to that place. And the people like me, and there was another lady who was pregnant, should also go, because they said, and what if she'll give birth? What should we do? They said there is in the village, I don't know, village or a town, what Charber was, I don't know, is a midwife. Somebody should go and call the midwife, I mean the Shomrim, the watchman. And it so happened that I was the one who was in labor, and they sent for the midwife. And okay, there were so many people laying in that hospital, I mean that field hospital, that I was ashamed. I didn't make one sound. The baby was born dead, but they spanked him back to life. Nobody heard that a baby was born, because I kept pain in myself. So there was a doctor, a Jewish doctor. He said, "So what is your name?" So I told him, Leordan Irina. What is your father's name? Leordan Shandor. What is your mother's name? Puchik Maria. So this is all Goyish name, and what are you doing here? I said, well, the child's father was Jewish, and I took some rolls through the gate to the ghetto, and this is my punishment. So that I wanted to come to, I had to have some sin to be among the Jews. But they didn't believe me really, but I acted, dumb. And the child with 3 days.
Was the baby a boy or a girl?
A boy. 3 days with the child out when the midwife came every morning, every day. She said they're taking away the camp. They're moving the people away. I said I would like to, in Hungarian, to say babunat, to give the child a religion.
Baptize.
Yeah, baptize my baby. I said I don't want him to die als pogain. I said, what religion are you? I said, Greek-Catholic, Greek-Catholic, because the people across the street by us in Petrova were Greek Catholics. So right away I had parents, and he said they don't have Greek Catholics, they have only Roman Catholics. Well, so I was very sorry. But when I said I don't want that baby should die als pogan, so she told the captain, I don't know what he was in the place, and She said she can't be Jewish because Jews don't know about this religion. She must be Greek Catholic. And then they asked me not right away, but I mean I was there months. Always used asked me, and I always acted, dumb, like a peasant woman. Peasant. So this is the way my baby was saved. And there with my husband, they used to come every day from the other yard to this yard because people had brothers, people had husbands, people had, who used to come visit. My husband also came, but I didn't communicate with him because there were bunk beds and girls were looking down and always watching what I'll say because they wanted very much to catch me with a lie. And I was very careful not to be caught with a lie.
Did your husband know that you were pretending to be Catholic?
Of course he knew. I told them that. I told them, in a whisper, so nobody should hear it. And they wanted to make a bridge. They said that it's out of the question. If I'm a goy, how should I do that? If I do that, then I'm lost. I lose my child.
Were there any other children in Sarvar when you were there?
There was another woman who gave birth after me. Not on the same day, 3 days later. She said her mother is a Christian and her husband is Christian. And her father is a 1,000% invalid from the First World War. So I don't know if she survived, but so far she was together with me. But afterwards, I don't know, she left. And that was scary to go out because they shoot people in the streets.
Did they allow you to keep your baby with you at that time?
Yeah, I kept my baby all the time because they wanted to adopt it because he was a very handsome little baby. I said no, I won't give him away. But I figured as long as I live, I'll keep him. And if I don't keep him, if I am not going to live, I don't want the baby to live because he shouldn't grow up and be a anti-Smith and do bad, kill our people. Only as long as I am alive and I'll raise him to be a good Jew.
How long did you stay in Sarvar?
In where?
In Sarvar? The place that you had the baby?
In Sarvar. Till they took the people. So there were about 150 people who had passports, who had, papers, and they brought them back to Budapest.
Were those Jewish people?
Jewish people, yeah, but they were other citizens.
Did you go back to Budapest with them?
They took me, not I go. I didn't go by myself. I was not free. They took me with those people together back to Budapest.
How old was your baby when you went back to Budapest?
I don't know how many weeks. He was not very old.
A few weeks old?
I can't tell you. No, I think maybe older.
What happened next?
I was there's a jail, it's called Tolontzás. Tolontzás, from there they used, Tolontzás, this means they send you wherever they want. It's like a concentration jail. From there they send you to other places. So there was the same with a building especially for ladies with children or political So me and another woman, that was a real Christian woman, she had also a baby. And she was all 9 months in jail, and she gave birth to also to a little boy. I was with her in one room, in one cell. And through the window we looked out and we saw they bring in Jewish people, mothers with children. And we were allowed to bring hot water. So every day we gave her the baby a bed. I had one nightgown, I made 2 diapers out of it, and every day, the diapers were every day washed and dried and changed. With 2 diapers I raised the baby.
Did you have any other clothing for the baby?
I didn't have anything.
What did he wear?
He didn't wear anything, he was naked.
How did you keep him protected, warm?
I had 2 blankets. When I gave birth to the baby, I got a blanket, because when the people who they took away to Auschwitz, interesting thing, I asked my brother, what did the people say when they had the account, they were counting the prisoners. So when they took him to the train station, so they were watching whom they bring, some in stretchers, some in, very sick people. And they were looking out for me when they bring me. They said, what happened to that Goethe who gave birth to the baby? They said, a Goyot Mazel. You understand that
Yes,
word?
a non-Jew has luck.
A non-Jew has luck. She is safe. They didn't bring her. Then they found out that I'm safe with the baby. This way they knew. But I saw another thing. I said, I believe God did all this for me because I risked my life to save lives. And I figured, a woman with an unborn child, what good can she do for God? But those are men, they all learn and they all were God-fearing. They feared God. I said, and they can serve Him. So I wanted to give my life to save those people who can serve God. So God showed me I can save a woman with a baby also. So that's why I always said that I believe in God, because there were smarter people than me and they couldn't save themselves. And I, with my, I don't know how to say it.
That's okay. You're doing fine.
So I remained religious because I believe in God. God helped me.
Were you able to remain religious throughout that whole time?
Yes.
In Sharvar and in Budapest?
Yes, because once they made me sign something in Shabbat. And all of a sudden, I took the pen in my hand and all of a sudden my baby cried. I said, and I threw down the pen, I said, oh, my baby's crying, and I left everything and I ran off to the baby.
So you
But
were able...
nobody knew that I keep Shabbos or I keep kosher, because I never ate anything what they gave me. Whatever they gave me, or on Sundays there was a little soup and there was a little meat. I gave it to the woman and she gave me the piece of cake. But they gave Sunday a piece of cake. Bread I had 2 portions, one for me, one for the baby. But I had money on me, and there was the Fellschauer, the one who took care of the cells. I said to him, I would like to have some fruit for the baby. But his baby didn't eat. I ate the fruit, so the baby should have better milk.
You were nursing the baby?
I was nursing, otherwise I wouldn't have survived. because there was no food for babies. I survived because I had 2 portions, whatever they gave. And I had farina. They gave a portion for the baby and a portion for me. For me, I think I had bread. I can't remember already what. But anyway, tripe I didn't eat. I couldn't. I closed my eyes and I wanted to take it to my mouth, but I couldn't bring it up all to my mouth because I knew it was tripe.
So how long were you in that jail in Budapest after you got there from Shavar?
I'll tell you how long. I can tell you from the time when I was out of the jail, of the bunker till January or February. I was out, no, before Purim, I think, or before Pesach. I can tell you. So I was out and went I was in Budapest and I went to Arad, to Romania, to have the child. Yeah, he was 8 months when I make a bridge for him.
Okay, before that, you were in Budapest, you were still in jail.
In jail, I was not free.
How long do you think you know how long you were in Budapest in the jail?
I was jail and I was in ghetto once they caught me.
What happened after the jail in Budapest with the baby?
With the baby, what happened? We were freed by the Russians.
From the jail?
Not from the jail, I mean Budapest.
The city of Budapest was freed by the Russians.
Yeah. And the nuns, there were nuns. We were with the nuns after we were free. But I didn't go out. They wanted me to go out, but I had no place to go. I had no address, I had no place, and I knew that everybody is afraid to walk on the streets, because in the streets the Hungarian Gestapo, or whatever you call them, they killed people on the streets. I mean, only walking, if they saw them. So I stayed in the jail after I could have gone out, but I didn't, because I had no place to go. Where should I have gone? So I stayed there, and the nuns told me to go to a children's home where they keep children. So somebody from the nuns, somebody took me, a civilian of course, took me to the place. And there were mothers with children. There were mothers, unwed mothers with children. And since I was with a child and had no one, I told them that my husband was Jewish, and I am not.
You were still sticking to your story.
I was sticking with because I was scared. I was afraid. I was sticking after I came to Radia Mare, after I came to make a bris for my child. I still had something on his hand with a little Maria hanging under his hand, because I was still afraid to tell him that I'm Jewish.
Okay, let's go back to where you were living with the nuns in the home for the unwed
yeah,
mothers.
And there were 2 Polish girls also who were in jail, because they caught them on the street and they thought that they were prostitutes, but they weren't. They were nice girls, but on the streets nobody was supposed to walk. And they were also with the nuns. And there was, I think, some Polish men who were also, everybody went to hide there, and they had food. They had food. I remember the people came to beg, so they wouldn't give. They said, why didn't you prepare? But if the Jewish people came, they gave. They said they couldn't prepare. But they might have to help, and I appreciated that for the Jewish people they helped.
Did you stay there for a long time?
I don't remember what time, what day it was. We were free. But after that, if I would know what time we were free, I would know how long I stayed. But this way I take it all together, you know. I don't know how long I stayed.
Where did you go after you left that home for unwed mothers?
I went to Oradea Mare, to Grossverdine, where I used to live. There I got my picture for my father.
You went back to Grossverdine?
I went back, yes, because I thought maybe maybe somebody will be back. Nobody was back.
Did you take your baby with you?
My baby, I wouldn't leave my baby with anybody. Wherever I went with the baby.
How did you travel back to Grossverdine?
With the train.
And how did you have money for the train?
I had money from the bunker. I had money. And then there was, you know, Jewish people. If they asked me if I know to make a bracha. I said, for what a bracha? For perot, for bracha in the morning. I don't know what kind of bracha you want me to make. They said, if you ask me these questions, you don't have to make any, because I didn't know what kind of bracha they want me. So they let me without a ticket. I remember I had some money, and to make a picture, to make me a pet for me and for the baby. I should go, but I traveled by train. Everything was so on. But my daughter asked me, see, because there were a lot of people who went to Bucharest, and over there they gave help. They gave 100,000 lei for people. I didn't go. I didn't get that money because I didn't go. I said that my baby is more worth than to risk the life of the baby. People were getting killed just to go and travel to Bucharest and get that money.
Okay, we're going to stop here.
Okay.
Survivor is Judith Einhorn. I am Devorah Cohn. This is tape number 4. Please tell us about your arrival back to Grossverdine.
After the war,
Right.
I came back to Grossverdine and I was looking in the houses where I used to live, and my parents used to live. I was looking to find some souvenir, something left. Couldn't find anything, but a neighbor came over with a picture of my father. He said he found it in a book and he took the book to the synagogue, in a Jewish book. So he gave it to me. And when Grossverdine I went to Arad, there I had relatives, and I made a bridge for my boy. Since he's a Jewish, I wanted him to have the symbol of Jew. And
what did you name him when you gave him a bridge?
Avram. My mother's father's name was Avram, so I gave him that name.
When you were in Grossverdine, did you have any word of any of your relatives?
I didn't have any word of anybody. But I was hoping that, see, young people came back from the Arbeitslager.
The work camps.
Work camp. So I was hoping that somebody, that time I didn't know what they did with the people in Auschwitz. I was hoping that my parents will come back. My husband will come back. So people were concentrating to go to Germany because they said everybody comes to Germany and there they come together and there they know where. So I went to a place where there was a doctor from Poland. He gathered children, orphans. He gathered them and brought them to Germany. From there, they went to Israel. Because that time they couldn't go straight to Israel. It was not Israel then. So the Sigechepet, how you call it?
You bothered him.
What?
You bothered him.
No. I joined that group with the orphans. My baby was also an orphan, but of course they wanted to take him away from me. I said, without me there is no baby. Wherever the baby goes, I go. But it was a Shomer Tzair group.
Was this in Grossverdine or in Arad?
In Budapest.
In Budapest.
From Grossverdine I went back to Budapest with a group.
Where did the baby have his breast?
In Arad.
And from Arad, where did you go?
To Budapest.
You went back to Budapest.
Back to Budapest.
And that's where you joined this group with the orphans?
This with that group. I went with that group together. They wouldn't accept me. They said, I know how to sew. I can fix things. I mean, Kinderheim, so many children there. You know, you have to fix things, sew things. So I volunteered. I'll do everything just to have me with them, because where shall I go all by myself? I really had no idea. I just went with the you know, with the group. You know what a group means?
Where did the group go from there?
To Budapest. And in Budapest I was there in that they also called it a Heim, a Kinderheim.
A children's home.
Children's home, yeah. And from there we went to Munich, to Germany. And on the road my child got sick, and he had scarlet fever. When I came to Munich, I didn't nurse him anymore. I nursed him 30 months. I didn't nurse him anymore. Because that was a doctor who had that Kinderheim. He said it's not good for the baby. So I didn't have anything to give the baby. So they made cacao chocolate milk, and the baby threw up. He couldn't take it. It was too rich for him. And he was burning like a fire, and they told me he had scarlet fever. And there was a children's clinic. And they sent me to the children's clinic. And there, I don't remember how many weeks he was there, but I was in the Deutsche Museum. Every day I went to visit my child. So
where were you living while you were in Germany?
There was a Deutsche Museum. All the people came together in that museum. And I was in that museum. And from there I took the baby to the clinic and I came back. I had no other place where to go. And some other people, every day people came to see if some group arrived. Maybe there are some relatives with them. So they saw me always. They said, they see me so long. What am I doing there? Why am I not in a camp someplace? So I told them the story that I have a baby in the hospital and I can't leave him. So where are you going? What do you plan to do? I said, I'm going to Israel. What are you going to do in Israel? I said, well, I know how to sew. I'll do sewing. So that lady said, if you would like to come to my house, I have a machine and I have a little girl of 5-year-old, and for me you can sew for us and I'll pay you.
Was she a Jewish lady?
Yes, of course. She also came every day to look at Polish, if maybe there some relatives will arrive. So I went to that lady, and every day I went to the hospital. And I sewed for her. I used to get up early in the morning. By the time she got up, I had something cut new and put together and ready for trying on. She was very satisfied. Material she had, because she had a friend who could get materials. You know, everything was in the black market. You couldn't get in the stores. But there were people who were making a lot of money with the black market. So I sewed for her and for her girl. Then sister-in-law came. I sewed for her also and for another lady. So this way I made some money. And when when I bring the baby in the hospital, they told me he has scarlet fever, he needs blood. So they check. I said, I'll give my blood. They checked my blood. It was not the same as the baby. The baby was type A and mine was AB. So it doesn't match. So I said, doctor, this is my father, my mother, my mom, meine Geschwister. Rate für my Kind. Save my baby because he stands for all of my family. So he said, we'll give him blood. I mean, because in a hospital there is banks, they had plenty Yiddish blood often. So anyway, they saved the baby. I took him out where I went to work, I took the baby with me. And I worked in München for a while. And then I went to a camp, Poking. I don't know if you heard in Deutschland for a camp Poking.
That was a DP camp?
A DP camp. I was there for a while, and then they closed that camp, and I went to Winsheim.
Was that also a DP camp?
All DP camps. And in Winsheim, there was one who, I didn't know him, but he knew me. He knew who my parents were. He said, wouldn't you like to remarry? I said, I don't know who, I don't know anyone. So I had a cousin, she lived in that camp. So she told me, he's a businessman, he's a fine man, you marry him because he'll help you raise your baby. And the boy was already almost 3 years. We got married in how you call it when you are allowed to...
Lag BaOmer?
Lag BaOmer. And in Tisha B'Av was my boy 3 years already.
Do you know, what year did you get married? Do you know the English date of your marriage?
I have to find my marriage license because the Vision Rebbe was the one who gave us Chapa Kadishin, because I have it in Yiddish, because that time when I was married, he was in hiding, my husband. We couldn't get from the consular,
a marriage certificate.
A marriage certificate, because it was a
That was
secret.
your first husband?
My first.
And what about your second husband?
The second husband, it was from Landsberg, Mlesh. I don't know if you heard that.
And you married him in a DP camp?
In the DP camp.
And what was his name?
Anshel.
And his last name is Einhorn?
Einhorn.
And so you now...
In 1947 I married him.
In the DP camp?
The boy was almost 3 years in a DP camp, yeah.
And where did you go for after that DP camp?
After the DP camp we came to America.
And what year did you come to America?
We came in 1950.
And how did you get here?
We had made out papers. He was a Metzger, butcher. And there was on the papers that they need a butcher.
Who made out those papers for you?
I don't know. People just signed in. I mean, whoever, wherever they wanted to go. So my husband wanted to go to America. I wanted to go to Israel. He wanted to go to America because he had some relatives. So we came to America.
Did you find your brother before you came to America or after?
Yes. When I was in Poking, my brother came also to Poking. He found his wife, his first wife. She came back.
Where did she come back to?
To Arad, and Arad, where I was to make the bridge. The man was her brother.
And so your brother and his wife reunited in Arad?
Yeah.
And how did you and your brother reunite?
What?
How did you and your brother reunite? How did you meet again?
In Poking, he was in Poking, and somebody told me the name, that Moshe Lerner is here. You know where he lived. So I went to find him. He was in Poking. And then her father was in America. And he said that he will send them papers he should come to America. And they went to Italy. Through Italy you could go to wherever country you accepted you. So they came to America. And they came to New York. And me and my husband and my two children, because my girl was born already. She was born in 1949
Where was she born?
in Landsberg,
In Germany?
Germany. He was in Germany. He was in Landsberg, my husband. He knew my first husband. He said he'll be honored to help me raise that little boy, because he knew his father.
And so you and your husband and your two children came to the United States.
Yeah, 1950.
And where did you live in the United States?
In Los Angeles. We came to Los Angeles. And my boy went to yeshiva there. My daughter went to school. But for the junior high, there was no school for girls, a religious school, special for girls, only mixed. And we wanted to raise her, the Jewish tradition. So we came to New York. Because a
What
lot
did
of
you do
people,
while you lived in Los Angeles?
I worked in a factory.
And what did your husband do?
He was a butcher, he worked in a packing house.
What was your life like in Los Angeles?
Very nice. I loved it. It was my new home.
Was there a large Jewish community?
Yes. It's larger now. That time, when people came, they were mixed people, and we came. Are you familiar with Los Angeles? When we came to Los Angeles, we lived in Borough Heights. And there was, most of the refugees lived there. Later on, people with good jobs moved out to the west.
When you came to the United States, did either you or your husband speak any English?
No.
And how did you learn?
Well, I learned from the children. I knew how to read. I asked only for the ABC. I didn't know how to pronounce, I said, if you'll teach me how to pronounce the ABCs, I'll know how to read. So I read, but not perfect, I read books, English books. I understand what I'm reading, but if I were to read them to you, you wouldn't understand me. Because I read it more in the European, with the European accent,
And how long did you live in Los Angeles?
9 years.
Did you have any friends or relatives in Los Angeles from before the war?
We didn't have any friends and any relatives before. My husband had one friend. He worked in the kosher kitchen in Landsberg, and there was a lady, she also worked in that kitchen. This is the only friend he had in Los Angeles. But I made friends while I was there, neighbors, I have a friend, a neighbor, we lived in one house, and we became so good. She's closer to me than to her brother, to her, you know what I mean? We're real friends.
What year did you move to New York?
I moved because of my daughter. I wanted her to learn in Bas Yaakov. In that time there was no Bas Yaakov school in Los Angeles.
What year was that?
Some people used to send the daughter because they had relatives. I didn't have anyone here. So I said, a girl I'm not going to send away. We'll move together. And then my husband had an accident. He couldn't move his right arm. And he couldn't get a job because they wouldn't insure him. So he said he must go to New York where they don't know him. So he'll get a job. And that's what he did.
And what type of work did your husband do in New York?
Butcher job. He was working with meat.
And did you work when you came to New York?
In New York, I worked I worked in Los Angeles.
And not in New York?
No, I had trouble with my back.
What neighborhood did you live in when you came here?
Here in New York, and I lived in where is that community? Very religious.
In Williamsburg?
Oh, Williamsburg. I lived there for almost 3 years, and then in Borough Park, 42nd Street.
And how long did you live in Borough Park?
From 1959 or 1960 till till we went to Israel. I think it was 69, maybe 10 years or something.
Where do your son and your daughter live?
What?
Where do your son and your daughter live?
My daughter lives here in this house,
In Borough Park?
Borough Park, and my son lives in Israel.
When did your son move to Israel?
When he was around 20. He went before to yeshiva there, and he fell in love with Israel. So he went to Israel. First he went here when he was 17 or 18 to enlist, because he had to go to the army. And they rejected him because he said that he has protein, I don't know how you call it, something was wrong with his kidneys. They wouldn't accept him, so he went to Israel and they accepted him there. But now he's under dialysis because he went from bad to worse.
How many grandchildren do you have?
In Israel 10 and here 3.
Would you like to tell us their names?
So which ones?
Wherever you want. Start in Israel.
In Israel is Leah, Hannah, Michal, Gershon, Zahava, Moshe Chaim, Asher, Devorah, Moriah.
I think you left one out.
Oh,
Ansha.
Moriah and Oron.
Oron. And here?
And here I have Yitzchak, Sarah, and Barry.
Mrs. Einhorn, is there any message that you would like to leave for your children or grandchildren based on your experiences?
One thing I can tell them, you should verzecher sich nur in God. Believe only in God, because God is the one who helped me, who helps everybody. Who believes in Him can be helped, and who doesn't believe is lost. Because I have proof of it. Because there were people smarter than me, and they didn't make it through. And if I brought back a baby from the oven, this is God's help. This is a picture of my father. I got this picture after the war. I came back to Noordwaard, Grootwerdijn. And a neighbor gave it to me. He found it in a big book that my father was studying. This is a picture of my husband's father. He was walking in the street and a tourist took his picture. And after the war, the tourist came to Israel and his granddaughter recognized the picture and bought it from him back. I didn't say about my husband.
What was his name?
My father was Bear Lerner.
And this is your
And this
husband's
is
father. What is his name?
Das Mordechai Yitzchak Einhorn. So this is a picture of me and my husband. We were in Cleveland to a wedding, to a bar mitzvah. And there we took this picture.
Do you know what year it was?
No. Berleib, on my left, is my son-in-law's brother. After that is his mother, my son-in-law's mother, my son-in-law, my daughter, that is me, my son, and my husband, Amschel Einhorn.
And do you know what year it was that your daughter got married?
What year was it, Sevi? The Ostros of
1969, but I don't know if I was supposed to talk at the moment.
1959?
69.
69.
An English name, because they know her in California.
They don't know her in California.
In the left there is my daughter-in-law, Nachama Hershkovitz, and my son, Avram Hershkovitz. On the left there is my granddaughter, Suri Pavel, her father, my son-in-law, Zalman, Barry, in the back of him, Yitzchok, the Chassan, Chavi, the Kala, my daughter, Sylvia, and there is myself, Judith Einhorn. This is Moshe Pavel, my great-grandson.
How old is he?
He's 2.5. This is my second great-grandson, Asher Pavel.
How old is he?
9 months.
Mrs. Einhorn, please introduce your family.
Yeah, and I want to introduce my family. This is my daughter, Sylvia Pavel. In the back of me is her son, Barry Pavel, who is going to get married in 2 weeks. On my right is my son-in-law, Zalman Pavel. And in the back is my new granddaughter, Barry's bride,
And what is her name?
Chayliba.
And can you tell us...
No,
You forgot, okay.
but
Englard.
Englard.
She's going to be a Pavel, so it's okay.
Okay.
She's going to be a Pavel.
Please tell us about the family who couldn't be here today.
Yes. My 2 grandchildren are not here. My big grandson is in Canada with his family.
What is his name?
Yitzchak Pavel, with Chavi, his wife, and 2 children, Moshe Pavel and Asher Pavel.
And your
My
granddaughter?
granddaughter is not here right now, Suri Pavel. Shloimi. That is his name.
Hagler. Shlomi's her husband.
Hagler. I can't remember your name.
And your son, please tell us about his family.
My son is in Israel. I can't introduce him. But we have some pictures.
What is your son's name?
Avram Hershkovitz.
Would anybody else like to add?
I have nothing but to add.
Okay.
Yes,
My
10
brother in
children.
Eretz Yisrael has Kanai 10 children, beautiful family, 6 girls and 4 boys. His 2 oldest daughters are married, and he has 3 grandchildren, which makes my mother a great-grandmother of 5. There are 3 boys and 2 girls.
What's it, 2 girls?
Wait a minute.
Great grand of
You're right.
girl.
You're right. There are 3 boys and 1 girl. Sorry. Not familiar with the Israelis that much.
4 boys and 1 girl.
Oh.
Chalea has 2 boys and a girl.
Girl. Yeah, 5. That
And
makes 5.
Etty has
Right.
4.
Yeah, that's right. 5 Kanai.
To give the other point of view from the grandsons, I had my grandmother live here a good portion of my life, and really she's the only grandparent I knew. My father's 2 parents I never met, and my grandfather, my grandmother's husband, I was too young to really have any memories. But the one grandmother that I was able to grow up with, it's something that's very special, and I thank God for it.
It was worthwhile living and have such a dear family.
I just want to add that the Holocaust did our family irreparable or damage, which will never be could be repaired. We never knew our grandparents, not one of them. We lost cousins, which by the number we don't even know,
Aunts and uncles.
aunts and uncles. Irreparable damage to our family, psychological.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.